Hello everyone, welcome to another lesson on IELTS academic grading. In this lesson, we are going to talk about reading graphs, how to read graphs, how to extract important information out of them, and how to write about them. So in IELTS academic rating, task 1 specifically, you are asked to describe a graph. And typically there are three different types of graphs. There are line charts, there is bar charts, and there's pie charts. And we are going to talk about these three and what information to look for and how to write for them. So in the previous lessons, we talked about certain words and um, such as verbs, adjectives, and adverbs that you can describe different trends. But in this one, we are going to show what kind of information to look for. So here I brought a graph that is typical of IELTS academic rating, and you're asked to describe this graph. So you need to write 150 words to describe this exact line chart. So this is the type number 1, which is a line chart, which means that you have two different types of or multiple, but in this case you have two lines that they're distinct from each other. One is this one and another is this one. So you're asked to describe these. First of all, you need to sort of zoom out a little bit whenever it comes to these graphs or any sort of piece of information. You want to zoom out and look for basic stuff. Describe what the graph is showing to begin with. So, for example, here is radio and television audience in the UK in October through December of 1992. So writing that down also is important. You want to describe what you're describing essentially. So one important piece of information is this one, radio and television audience in the UK. Another one is essentially the x-axis, this time of day and night. Essentially, they track the audience for 24 hours. So you want to also mention that the audience was through the 24 hours, and also the y-axis, which is the percentage. So when it comes to writing about or describing this graph, first let's describe what is this graph is to begin with. So you can say the graph describing or depicting, or I should say is depicting. The graph is depicting radio and television audiences in UK in 24 hours period. So that is a good start. Also, you can say percentage-wise. So like the percentage of UK population, that also you need to mention. So you can say, let me raise this point. In the UK in 24 hours period, in terms of percentage of population who are 4 years older. So here it's written that for 4 years and older, so you can write down as well. So let's focus on one, which is, let's say, radio, and then we can move to television. So the radio has this obvious peak at 8 a.m. This is at about 8 a.m. So you can write that the radio audiences peaks at about 25% at 8 a.m. or at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then it gradually decreases. So that is describing the radio. And if I wanted to describe this, imagine we sort of remove a little bit of the wrinkles out of the television trend, and it peaks at about 50% at 8 p.m. So we should write these down. So, for example, we write the percentage of UK population who listens to radio peaks at about 25% at 8 a.m. or 8 in the morning, and then it gradually decreases to you can say what is it, like 3% or 2%, or you can say to about 2% at the minimum is around like 2:30 in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning. So you can say at 3 a.m. and then it starts to picks up a little bit here, and then goes back to the next day and moves up to the peak. So that's how you describe the radio one. And similarly, you can describe the television one as well. So you can say the television population or percentage of population audience peaks. You already use the peaks. So you can use a different word. So you can say like maximize or maxes out at 50% at 8 p.m. And again, you can describe the decrease as well. Or you can say the maximum percentage of the UK population that watches television is 15% at 8 p.m. Something like that. So they are quite similar in terms of they have a maximum and they have a value that they max out, and then there's a decrease. You can also describe a little bit of a fluctuation here, but 150 words, you might not have space for that. So you can just describe the what is maxing out at what point. So that's pretty much it. Let's do another exercise. So let's bring out another exercise here so we can practice another bar chart. So here's this one. Let's move it to the corner. So again, let's focus on the big picture. What is big picture? Number of shop closures and openings from 2011 to 2018. So you have closures and openings, and also here is the numbers. And on the x-axis is the time. So first you describe what is the graph is describing. So big picture. So you can say the graph depicting again or showing number of shops closure and openings. By the way, don't use this operand symbol. Use, let me be a good example. Write actual and openings from 2011 to 2018 at, let's say, what city, as some city in the world. But typically IELTS says about UK city for whatever reason, but you can say at I don't know, at Amsterdam. Let's defy the British. Amsterdam, or in Amsterdam, I should say. From 20, yeah, I already said from 2011 to 2018. So you can say, you can see the obvious big sort of minimum for in terms of closure. So here's the big, there wasn't many shops being closed in 2015. And openings also have a sort of a little bit of a decreased trend. So overall, both of them decreased, but the decrease in terms of openings was more consistent. So you can write that. So you can say there was, oops, this is thick. Let's write it a little bit thinner. So there were, or the let's talk about the closures. The shop closures has an overall decrease trend. However, it has a minimum of about, let's say, 500 shop closures in 2015, and after that there were fewer shop closures at about 5,000. So you can write that one out as well. And in terms of shop openings, you can say shop. Similarly, you can say that, or let's write similar to shop closures. Shop openings had an overall decreased trend. The most number of shops being opened was at 2011, or the biggest number of shops that opened was at 2011. The most shops opened was at 2011 at about 8,500 shops, and minimum was 2018 at about 3,000. Showing, and you can elaborate on that, showing an overall decrease in shop openings in the 8 years period from 2011 to 2018. So that's how you describe line graphs. Essentially, more or less, it's about decreases and increases, and just pay attention to minimums and the maximum, and you should be good. One thing that I would emphasize is try to open your paragraph with describing the graph itself. Don't jump right away into the numbers, the trends. Try to describe what is the graph is showing. So, for example, number of shops closures, the period, the x and y axis. Pay attention to those, and try to describe those first, and then move to the second part, actually showing some numbers, some percentages, and those kind of things. And this lesson is already long, so we're not going to talk about the bar charts and pie charts. In the next ones, we're going to write a few examples and talk about those graphs as well. So that's it for today. Hopefully you liked it. See you in the next one. Cheers.